I'm Decker Ploehn. I'm City Administrator for the City of Bettendorf, Iowa. At our last night's City Council meeting, which was Tuesday, June 16th, we had a number of items on the agenda that related to our ability to manage the fiscal year budget that we are in that expires June 30th of 2020, as well as recommendations for our budget that takes place starting July 1 of 2020 and goes into the 21 calendar year. We had anticipated shortfalls because of the COVID-19 virus. In fact, our current fiscal year, we believe we're going to be about $2 million short of the revenue projections that we had made a year and a half ago for the budget that we're completing now. So we had to try to make up that $2 million because we lost monies in sales tax, hotel motel tax, gaming tax, and revenues that we would normally get from our operations like the fitness center and the family museum and the golf course, all of which were impacted by the coronavirus. So we put together a plan and put those recommendations in front of the council, and the council, both at its Monday meeting, June 15th, and last night's meeting, heard our recommendations and then heard from a number of people who were in the room about what those cuts were going to mean to them personally. But we ended up canceling our 4th of July activities because the coronavirus, number one, is a factor in gathering large groups of people. But more importantly, it gave us $100,000 towards this budget issue that we're trying to grapple with. So we will not have the parade and the festival like we normally have, and we're not going to have the fireworks on the 4th. We did keep the money for the fireworks in the budget and are looking at opportunities either in the fall or the winter that we could use those monies for that purpose, and we will determine that at a later date. There was considerable discussion about the hiring of police officers and firefighters that were in the budget. We had raised our levy for the first time in about 11 years to hire 6 full-time firefighters, and we've applied for a grant to try to have the federal government pay for those firefighters in what's called a SAFER grant. And if we were successful in getting those grant dollars, that would defray some of that tax increase for a while. And then we were also going to then hire additional police officers. We are going to hire 2 police officers on August 1st, and they're replacement officers for 2 veteran officers who are retiring. Our original recommendation was to delay that hire, but the chief supplemented this budget with drug seizure monies that he has at his disposal that helped us put that decision back on track. So the 2 officers will come in just exactly as timed that we put in the budget in March, and they will come on board August 1st. The 6 firefighters, the council was pretty strong in its will that they do not want to jeopardize the hiring of the firefighters. So the October date to hire them will probably remain intact. They made a decision to defer that decision till right around October 1st, as well as the decision from my recommendation to close the fitness center to help also balance this budget issue. Both of those decisions they will take up in October. We'll know better what our revenues are at that point. We'll also know whether or not we had the grant from FEMA for the SAFER grant. So those are kind of the highlights of that meeting last night, and the end decision was the council adopted all the recommendations that the administration had made, with the exception of hiring the firefighters and the light fitness center, but delayed those decisions to the first part of the first part of October. And we will then be in a better position to see if we can accomplish that. But we are doing a number of things, like we did not open Splash Landing. We've deferred a bunch of capital improvements, vehicles and electronic equipment, a variety of things to try to narrow the gap. And we've been able to cut about $3 million out of the budget that's coming up and balance the budget and not cut any services to our citizens other than the things that we talked about already. There has been some questions brought to us about the demonstrations, both on Friday last week and Saturday. In the Black Lives Matter protest on Saturday evening, those folks had applied for a permit to use the park and to walk the streets, and I think we had about 250 to 300 people participate in that. These are First Amendment right issues. The city is very strong on First Amendment rights. People get to come to City Hall and tell us the decisions they like or don't like, and such is the case with someone who wants to protest. We take that responsibility very seriously in terms of allowing those things to happen in a safe and peaceful way, and that happened that way. There was a smaller protest at Crow Creek Park. We were not really involved much in that, but again, it was very peaceful and we had no issues. So we just kind of wanted to report to you on these activities and the decisions that we made. We think we did it with a lot of input. There were a lot of people in the room both nights on June 15th and June 16th to help give us input on these decisions. We're grateful they were here, and we love taking the input, and we think we had a really good outcome that the council supported unanimously to help balance the budget and still keep our priorities where we believe they are. If you want to watch that meeting or the Committee of the Whole meeting in its entirety, if you go to the city's webpage, www.bettendorf.org, it's right on the main page, and you can pick off that meeting and click on it, and it'll take you right to that video, and you can watch to your heart's content. So thank you very much for listening.